I'm ready.
Okay, so hello everyone, and welcome back to Stage Talk. Back for another episode. Very excited to be here. Um,
We're back. We are back.
and I just want to point out how we fixed Corey's sound system.
Yeah,
We
enough
fixed
of
the
you commented
lighting.
on that we got a headset on, we got a podcast mic set up. I bought a webcam so there's a better picture quality with a light. Like we're good.
My favorite comment was like, it sounds like Corey's on a tin can, which I was dying at that comment. So whoever said that comment, that like made me laugh so much. But yeah, we
It's
fixed
so
it
funny
now.
because the AirPods work so well for everything. Like talking on the phone is clear, listening to music is clear, and then we upload to YouTube and it sounds like that. So
And also, when I was listening, when you said, "Is the sound good?" It didn't sound that bad. When I was listening back,
yeah.
I was like, "Okay, this isn't good. This is not great, but
uh,
it's fine. We'll have to make it work because it's a 2 hour long episode that we're not going to re-record."
yeah. Yeah.
But thank you guys so much for watching that first episode. Obviously, so much great positive feedback from it, and I think it covered a lot of things that we obviously wanted to speak about. And obviously, it's cool now that Tyler's feedback for Bikini for that top six is now out from the Olympia. If you haven't already watched it, go watch it. It's very informative. But he covered a lot of stuff that we mentioned, which was really, really cool.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of the stuff he mentioned was kind of exactly what we were saying. He mentioned a little bit about some posing. He made the comment that both you and I said where we didn't feel that anybody brought their like all-time best there.
Hmm.
So it was definitely very cohesive with what we were saying. So I was happy to see that.
Yeah, same. I was really cool. It was cool to see it. And like, I also, what we were doing, because we were both going back and forth with this as well, was it's interesting to see what people comment underneath and see, okay, are there
Mhm.
still any more questions that kind of people had, and discussions and all that type of thing. One point that I did actually really like was he mentioned that the conditioning for the conditioning they
Two to
want to see
four.
going
Yeah.
forwards. Yeah, they want to see what they want to see going forwards was second through to fourth. So that was Ashlyn, Jazzy, and Amy,
Yep.
which was interesting. And I wanted to kind of get your point on that a little bit more because I was quite interested to hear that as well.
I think that it shows a lot how much number one, like we stressed in the first episode, and Tyler also touched on and stressed a bit in his recap here, is that not that there's necessarily a hierarchy of what's more important, it's what's the most cohesive for everyone's physique, but he
Mhm.
touched a lot on balance. And
Yeah.
so balance top to bottom, just because someone else's glutes might be bigger than first place or second place doesn't mean that that means that their back pose is better than first place or second place. It's
Hmm.
what fits best on that physique. What is the most balanced for that person? Obviously, a 5 foot 110 pound physique on stage will more than likely have less density in their glutes than someone who is bigger on stage. So it's the judges, the professional judges on the panel to decide who looks the most balanced for what they are bringing for their physique. And I
Hmm.
think that along with obviously what Tyler said was a huge thing with stage presence. Maureen tipped the
Yeah.
scales in that regard. So
100%. And I think a lot of people were very surprised with that comment of saying, like, well, I mean, not surprised because Maureen didn't bring it because she's always been incredible with presentation. But
yeah,
I think people were more surprised, and I wasn't, but I think people were surprised that, oh, her presence was one of the main factors as to why she won. And I'm like, you don't understand how much posing makes the whole complete package so much more like winning overall.
yeah,
And I think he just kind of solidified that a lot more when he said that and mentioned that. And people were like, oh, okay. So like it's not just about, focusing, it's focusing on everything ultimately, like you mentioned. So it was really cool though. It was nice to kind of see like his differences and what he mentioned and stuff like that. And I hope he's been doing a lot more recaps like that anyway. And I'm
yeah,
excited to hopefully see more happen. So again, he could just be
yeah.
spreading more knowledge about all the other divisions and stuff.
I feel like it's typically, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the whole year of recaps he's done is the shows that he had judges.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
doesn't he doesn't take the feedback from other judges and then try to give his opinion on it. All the
Hmm.
shows that he's had judged through the year, he then does recap videos on. And I think that really helps, like coming from the top head judge, the VP of the industry, like it's his eyes on people on stage that day. And then the next week he delivers the recap on how he felt it went and why. So I think that helps a lot.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's needed 100% within the industry and stuff like that. So, okay. So within today's episode, we're going to go through what's going on this week in pro shows and review also what happened in this previous weekend. So do you want to go through what happened this previous weekend first?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So we had... What do we have? We had Hurricane. We actually missed one last week. Obviously, we said that, there was Brazil. Hurricane, there was this. There's so many. Like, I didn't realize that there was 4 this weekend.
Yeah. And it's funny because it's like Brazil and Mexico Pro. That was like their mini Olympia to them. Like the crowds are crazy. Insane. And outside of Bikini not having a huge list at Mexico, every other division was stacked.
Yeah,
like,
it was
the
busy.
amount of people that are there is you got 2, 3, 4 top 10 Olympians coming out there and showing off. And Giselle was in wellness, and there were a lot of people that went and showed up at that Brazil and Mexico show.
Yeah, there was a lot, which was really, really cool. Again, it's always good to see like a nice stacked lineup of girls. And to be fair, we'll touch on this later and stuff because there's a few, we're going to go through a little bit of a Q&A within today's video as well. But a lot of people had questions about the point system of obviously, the new point system and how it's kind of happening and all that type of thing. And my main thing a lot of people have asked is said, like, do you think that pro shows will be, a lot busier, or like, do you think people won't compete as much because it's too hard to get to the Olympia? But I was like, no, I guarantee these shows are going to be like stacked now, like even more than before, because it has to be.
I know we're going to get into this. It's one of our Q&As. So spoiler alert for a little bit from now, but the point system being harder to get into the Olympia now, it's actually easier. It's technically easier because you don't need to be a show winner. You just need to be healthy and consistent. If you can do 3, 4 shows in a span of 8 to 10 week period, take a little break, come back again for another 3, 4 shows, and you're consistently in that like 2, 3, 4, or 5 spot, you're going to keep racking up points. And I like what John did actually on Pro Bikini News here. We'll get to it in a minute, but he put asterisks on the points list next to the girls that have already won one show. So you can kind of see who they are and maybe expect them to win a second show, and then they drop off the points list. So now everyone that was below them just moved up a section. So it's like if you have 4, 5, 6 points right now, you're technically really close to the top, because the girls that have 10 plus and have won a show, like Amy, for instance, Amy's going to win another show. She's not going to be on that 25 list. So those spots with the girls that have already won a show are going to get dropped off that. They're going to be qualified. And then you have that top 25 that's not going to be show winners. So it's actually technically a little easier to qualify. There just won't be as many people.
Okay, that's cool. We'll have to look at that. And also massive shout out to John, because we literally stole his, top 15 last week, and now I'm on his page now. So if you don't follow him already, he's a really good news station to kind of like update with all pro shows and pro cards and all things bikini, which is bikini actually.
If there's ever not a live stream, John knows someone in the audience that got him a photo, and he's putting up the results within 30 seconds. So
literally, it's perfect. So, has he got one of top 6? Yeah, he has. Okay. Perfect. So this was top 6 from Hurricane Pro.
Yulia with the redemption after not being able to get on the Olympia stage. I love seeing that. She looked awesome.
That's really cool. So you've got Amy here. In the pink in first. Now, I really like, obviously I know this is nothing to do with the physique or anything like that. I really like her in pink more than red. Yeah. And I don't know if that's because, for me personally, I feel like it's just different and it's just pops a little bit more on her. I feel like red, I love the color red. I just feel like it's been overused this year a lot. Yeah. And I like seeing just a little bit different. Like when I saw Jazzy and Maureen come out in green, I was like, this is cool. Like, it's just nice to see people step away. And it doesn't matter ultimately. It just needs to be complementing to you, obviously bikini wise, but I like her better in pink for sure. That's my
Yeah,
opinion.
no, I definitely agree. And there's obviously it's very opinionated or what looks better on what person based
Yeah.
on skin tone and hair color and the makeup style they went with. But pink looks really good on Amy. I feel like
Yeah.
with Amy's physique being sometimes slightly on like the harder side, and she definitely has that very round, full muscle to her, red can almost make her look a little too hard on stage. And I think that this
Interesting.
pink just like flowed really well with her. I love this look. This was one of my favorite looks
Yeah.
of Amy of all time.
Yeah, I think yeah, I agree. I think she looks really nice and poppy. She like look really emulates the balance that obviously Tyler was speaking about as well. She always does emulate very good balance, but and then we've got second place here. I'm not too sure how to pronounce her name.
I am not sure either, but she looked awesome.
Yeah, she
So
looks really good. We'll go to the back shots in a second. And then third place we had Yulia, which I'm pretty sure I can't remember that there was a point. Was there points close here? Didn't see the points list, but was
yes, I
there
think
points
I think
close?
it was them. There was someone in this top six next to each other that was like 1 or 2 points off of
I
the
think
other
it was. I
person.
think it was second and third. I think it was second. And
Yeah.
third. I'll check in a
Which I
second.
could see when we go to the back shot, we can see how, and I can't pronounce her name. I'm gonna call it Zinyi. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong,
Zinni.
but I think the back shot put her over Yulia here because I like Yulia's front pose more. Looking at this photo
Yeah.
itself, it's a little bit more balanced and she's posed a little more properly. Whereas the girl in red just is. I don't think she is top heavy, but she's making herself look top heavy the way that she's
hmm
posing.
Okay.
Kind of hunched over a little bit. Arm is kind of out too much, a little bit too much flare there. Standing really close together with her legs doesn't
hmm
help with how wide her upper body looks. But her back pose is incredible. And I think that's what
Yeah.
landed her in second.
Yeah, we'll definitely have a look at that in a second. I think yeah, it was I think it was these two, and I think it was a quite close call. And then we've got uh, I'm so bad when it comes to names here.
Gulsa. Gulsa?
Gulsa. Gulsa. I want to say I'm not too sure where she's from, but I think she might be from Europe. Again, really, really good, nice balance. I like her front shot here a lot.
Yeah, no, agreed. Definitely like her front shot. And then Chris next to her looks
hmm
great. I like this look on Chris a lot more than what we saw pre-Olympia. I felt like she looked really muscular and hard pre-Olympia, which obviously won her a couple shows. So I mean,
Yeah,
by all means, have at it. But
yeah.
I like this look a lot on her. It looks very much more shapely, a little bit toned down in the hardness. I like it a lot.
Yeah, 100%. No, I agree. She looks more rounder in the lower body as well. Like I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if she's changed something with her posing or anything like that, but her glutes, I mean, she always has very round glutes from the front anyway. But I feel like it just before maybe her legs were a little bit harder and then
Yeah.
the glutes kind of got lost with that. So like you said, like you mentioned as well. And then we've got Alice in sixth. I think Alice I saw on her story, I think they were testing out a little bit more of a fuller look.
I saw that. Yeah.
So I think she usually comes in a little bit obviously tighter than this. So I
Mm-hmm.
think they were testing out a little bit more fuller look.
It's always, I mean, it's good to test out different things. Like she's been going for a while this year.
Yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
watched her in person all the way back in Miami in May, and then saw her in person at Legions after that. And
Mhm.
she's had little breaks here and there, but she's essentially been prepping all year long. And to
Yeah.
still be holding out and as good as she is continuously in that top six, she won a show a couple weeks ago. That's awesome to see.
Yeah, really, really good. And again, this is why it will be easy for her to kind of, take a little bit of downtime over Christmas, whatever, come back in 2026 and get that second win because she's just because of how consistent she's already been and probably where her
Yeah.
body's at. It's like just in a good, healthy state, which is what they want Bikini, I guess, to be.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
back shots. Yeah, you can
Yeah.
see
Amy's
Amy.
perfectly balanced. This is one of my
Yeah,
favorite back poses I've ever seen on her.
yeah, she looks really nice and balanced. Um, I really like, yeah, I really these you can see here these two, there's quite a definitive difference with conditioning. And I think
Yes.
why Amy won was because again, her conditioning is more emulated than what Bikini wants to be?
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
so yeah, I really like Amy's back shot here. I think she looks really, really good. And she's doing more shows. She's gonna do three shows in Asia, I think, as well. So she's
Oh,
not
awesome.
stopping. She's not finishing. She's not finished, which is
Awesome.
really cool to see.
It's
Um,
really cool to see, and obviously we'll get to the list in a second, but it's cool to see girls like top Olympians like Jazzy going and doing Prague, and I'm assuming more European shows. Like you're
Yep.
over there, and there's not many stateside shows left. So it's like if you're going to
Hmm.
go run a bunch of shows, stay over in Europe and run the whole circuit over there. Amy, you said wanting to go to Asia. Like it's really cool to see some top girls going over there. I'm sure that we'll see Ashley Kay maybe doing her like signature Japan Pro or something like
Hmm.
that. So it'll
That'd be
be
cool.
really cool to see them all over there.
Yeah, 100%. That'd be really cool. And then we've got Yulia. I think Yulia always has a really nice, good, she always has really good balance from the back, or she
Mhm.
always has a really good back pose, just in general, if I'm
Yeah.
honest. I think potentially, is she flaring like a little bit too much quad, or is that
I was just gonna
enough?
say that I can't tell if it's the backdrop is that like because
Yeah.
the looking at the quad sweep on the right looks a lot more pronounced than the left. And I know
Yeah.
that she's not unbalanced by any means.
No.
So I don't know if that's part of the backdrop that I'm seeing that's like reflecting off that like outer glute into the quad right there that
Yeah.
makes it look like it's like projecting out more. But
Hmm.
I do agree that there's a little bit too much quad there that I'm seeing from the back, just in overall balance. But still crazy glutes, like perfect conditioning, I feel like. So definitely landed her a good spot.
Yeah, really, really good spot. And then I think again, you then start to see kind of, um, fourth, fifth, sixth, and again, really good balance from the back just in general, and just really good posing as well. Like you see a really good amount of people hitting the back poses correctly. We're not seeing a lot of leaning into the hips or making the hips look too
Mhm.
wide or anything like that. Which shows that they're obviously in condition as well. Like you see a lot of people sometimes if they aren't in condition or whatnot, we'll see that. We'll see that kind of lean forwards with the chest or sit into the hips. And
Yeah.
it's not something that they're wanting to see. So again, really nicely performed. Um, so yeah, I mean, overall, I think this is a really good show. I thought there was going to be a few more people here. I think we had who else was in this show just in general? There was Brittany Hamilton,
Yep. I think she
and then
landed eighth, I believe,
I think
right
she got
outside the
first
top
call
six.
outs. She
Yeah.
got first
Yeah.
call outs, I'm pretty sure. So I think the next one is yeah, we were right. Yulia and
Yeah. 1 point
the girl
off.
who got second was 1 point off. Yeah, I thought so.
Yep.
So um so yeah, I mean overall really, really good show. Like again, I don't think we have any US shows this weekend coming up.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like a little break
And
from everyone.
to touch on this scorecard too for everyone listening is this is what I talked about last week with how Bikini is literally a swinging pendulum of who's going to place where. You can see Massa and Hope Castelli down here in the eighth and ninth spot in this show,
Mhm.
and they've both gotten top two this season within the last like month or two. And
Mhm.
so it's just that's how Bikini is that day. And when you talk about obviously a different judge's interpretation of criteria, and then you talk about like just the littlest 1% being different between your winner all the way down to 10th place, like that shows it right there. Like Massa and Hope have brought very consistent good packages, been in first callouts top five over and over and over again, and then they drop down to the lower half of the top 10, and it just shows how Bikini is. And it's a very,
Mhm.
very tough division to nail it.
Yeah, it really is. And like again, it's constantly, I wouldn't say evolving, but it's constantly getting new players added. Like obviously when people get pro cards, when you see people do more shows, when people just
Mm-hmm.
level up and are consistent throughout the years. Like for example, I always bring up this example just when Jazzy had her like 2, 3 years off and then came back and absolutely dominated. Like
Yeah,
you don't forget about her, of course, but like obviously she wasn't on stage for 2, 3 years, and then she comes back,
yeah,
and you expect maybe you take a little bit of time for her to come back. No, like she comes straight back in. Like it's constantly getting new players, constantly getting new people. So there's gonna be different battles at every show. It's not gonna be all the same players every single time, you
yeah,
know?
definitely.
Um, and then we've got Brazil
You got Brazil.
or the
This is a good show.
Republic. I don't think there's any photos. So I tried to find photos and there's not
Yeah,
photos
I didn't
yet.
see many photos other than the
No.
ones I saw of the top five, like in their award stances, like after they
Yeah.
have their top five awards. That's all I
This
found.
is
But
all I've seen. So I haven't seen um any actual photos or any static shots or anything like that of
yeah,
anyone. But you've got Sharon
yep,
and she's got a great physique. She's obviously an Olympian as well. So she's got a shot here. I think this is when she won. Yes, when she won this show this weekend. So she looks really good. Obviously, there's not much we can see from this. It's obviously like a comparison side by side, but this is what she looks like. I think she's got a really good physique. I think she's on a little bit more on the muscular side, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think so too. Looking at this, at least. I haven't followed Sharon consistently, but when I do see her on stage, she stands out in a very good way. Lots of muscle,
Yeah.
lots of density, has a really good front pose, like one of those girls that can just kind of sit into it very naturally. Nothing's like overly flared or forced, like that right
Yeah.
there. She
Yeah,
just can just
exactly.
sit into it. So she's really good.
And again, that's what you want bikini to be. Like, it doesn't need to be, again, forced or flex too hard or anything like that. She's very pretty muscle and nice round muscle bellies, which is exactly what we want it to be. So, yeah, she looked great. Absolutely. Well done for obviously winning. She's got one more show to probably go now, and then she will be qualified for 2026, which is exciting. Yep. Okay. We've got Mexico. So again, there's some photos for Mexico.
Yeah, not too many photos. Like this was the best one I had. I think I sent this one to John, and this was one of the this was someone else that sent this. But the angles that you could get, the different lighting from all different parts of the audience. This is actually a fairly decent photo. So this is first call outs before they moved anyone around. And it's also a photo that's cutting off half the roster.
A few people.
You see 6 girls here. You're missing 2 people on the outsides. There's 8 total right here. But yes, so that's first call out after being moved with Kerrigan and Cass in the center. And this was cool doing a top 2 call out. Bill said it was very, very close. All in all, being objective, obviously, as objective as I can. Back pose, Cass has more development, more upper outer glute here. Conditioning was very, very even between the two. You can see that through the hamstrings, the tie-ins, the walk, like everything was spot on with both of their condition. You can just see Cass with the upper outer glute and that overall like sweep that comes down to her tie-ins. It just has that more dense development. And then front pose could have gone either way, in my opinion, especially just looking at the two of them here. I feel like Kerrigan has that, again, natural sitting into the front pose. It just looks a bit more natural, no stiff arm, nothing's forced. But then when you look over at Cass, again, you see that overall S curve that's a bit more developed, more of that outer glute pop, that side profile of the glute that really stands out. So
yeah, I can definitely see it being close for sure. Like, and they both have their own strengths in different ways. Like you said, like Cass, I would say Kerrigan, I really like the shape of Kerrigan's front pose more than Cass's, but then again, back pose, they're both very similar. So it's just a case of which one they would prefer. One question we did get was what did, if you don't mind obviously sharing or whatnot, but what did they do differently from the show previously, or what did Kerrigan do previously from the show, obviously being a little bit too hard, a little bit too muscular for Bikini, to then going into this show and emulating Bikini a lot more, which I think a lot of people would appreciate to kind of know, because she went from 11th to 2nd, which is really, that's a really, really good jump.
Yeah. And again, that's Bikini for you. It's just like Kate from New Zealand went from 15th, her first show of the season this year, to winning the very next week. So that's Bikini. But what was done differently, so one, on James's side of coaching, he wanted to get her fuller and fill her out more and reduce a bit of those lines. And so she ate 100 grams of fat back-to-back days.
I saw that on her story.
Yeah, she went through an entire tub of peanut butter in 2 days. So that was one of the main things that happened. And her calories aren't super low by any means. Like even going into the show through peak week leading up to it, she's not like dying over this at all. And so it wasn't too much on the calorie side of things, especially on the fat side of things, where it was going to distend her gut or make her waistline look big or anything. It was enough for her to handle because she had been tapering up already. And it worked really well in terms of, waist was still tight, filled her out well. And then being next to Cass too, who is a more muscular and typically more conditioned competitor as well, they complement each other very well on stage. So it looked perfect next to each other. And then honestly, one of the main things was her foot's not broken anymore. So
Yeah.
there's that.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes complete sense. And we even said this before, like these two would be a really good matchup because just of similarities. So I think that was really cool to actually then see it side by side, and see the
Yeah.
differences for sure. Is there a
Yeah.
reason, obviously for people listening, would there be a reason as to why they chose fats over carbs to slightly soften her up? Was there any
I
reason
think it
why
was
they did
more
that?
so on the nutrition, on the prep coach side of things. So the reason that people would typically choose fats is because you need fats for nutrient partitioning and to hold the fullness.
Hmm.
So James took a couple things into account. He knew how high of elevation they were in Mexico City in comparison to where she lives normally. And so being at that elevation, she was literally waking up every single morning dropping over a pound. She
Wow.
came to Mexico at 115, and after loading was 113 going into the show.
Hmm.
And this is insane. We're at 3,000 calories and you're dropping. So knowing that metabolic rate was going crazy, her body was like a furnace. Switched over to going higher fats the last couple days so that they could really hold on to that fullness, and because fats are just
Hmm.
higher caloric density. And it ended up working out really well. So she's got a couple more shows planned to do. And honestly, I think, especially with Bill's feedback, pretty much saying like next to Cass, Kerrigan she doesn't need to grow her shoulders, but she could have pumped up her shoulders backstage to give her more of that
Interesting.
shapeliness next to Cass. That was kind of part of the feedback. Um, was just because again you're giving feedback based on what you saw next to somebody. You
That's
can't
what I
give
was
them
gonna say.
feedback. You can't, no judge knows what somebody did going into the show, so he
Hmm.
can't tell you that you were flat or you were this, because they don't know if it's flat or if it's lack of muscle. So
Hmm.
it's hard to give that actual detailed feedback like that. So Bill is an incredible judge, and I always love his feedback.
Hmm.
And I loved how he said just like touch on the shoulders because you were next to Cass. Like that was a standout there. And then obviously a bit more upper outer glute is the main thing. And obviously we've been working at that for the last year. So her glutes have come a long way, and will
Yeah.
continue to for the next couple shows. She's going to ride out the entire rest of the stateside shows. So for the rest of the year.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's exciting. And I love how you mentioned obviously Bill actually mentioning beside Cass, because again, Kerrigan could go to the next show and be like, okay, cool. Bill said any more shoulder, pump up
Yep.
shoulders, and then be like, way too much shoulder now next to these girls. And again, it's
Yep.
that swinging pendulum we were talking about before, but then
Oh yeah.
also like it depends on what you look like. Because I was thinking about this the other day. The top four, or actually to be the top six, emulated each other like very well. So you've got Laura Lee and Ashley, who were second and first, obviously, last year. They're both very similar in terms of physique wise and kind of fullness. Amy and Jazzy, kind of a little bit more muscular, a bit more
Mm-hmm.
conditioning. They both match very well next to each other. And then Maureen and Ashley next to each other. Again,
Ashlyn.
both very, very similar. So I
Yeah.
think it's always good when you kind of find that person when, well, I say you can't find that person because there's nothing you can do about who shows up on stage, but it's nice when you get to that point in your career of bodybuilding where you know what to do, not just for yourself, but like these small little tweaks in how you need to show up next to other people as well, which is something I personally would say you don't need to even think about doing until you get to pro level, and it's these finer details. Like you really don't need to
Yep.
think about it if you're amateur or anything like that, but I think it's very important to kind of like know that, you know.
Yeah, yeah. And there's a lot of things that go into that statement of saying there's a big difference between amateur and pro level, and the differences in what you need to look at, what you need to work on. I get this question all the time about like when people want to train with me and have me do their training programs is I'm always very real with them. I'm like, you are a brand new true novice competitor. Like if you want to pay me to train you, it's going to be a standard type of bikini program. Like I'm going to want you need to grow everywhere. I want you hitting lower
Yeah.
body 3 times a week, and we're going to touch upper body twice a week. There's not going to be much like specific detail. It's still like a custom program in the sense of like, let me take into account if you have any injuries and what I
Hmm.
see on your physique needs to be if something's more dominant than another. But then when you look at the national and especially the pro and Olympia level, that's where like, and I can speak to So Steph, one of the bikini pros I trained in person, you know Steph, Steph Warden.
Mm-hmm.
So one of
Mm-hmm.
her feedback from Sandy at one of her shows was I walked up to the table with her and Sandy took my phone and zoomed in on Steph's glutes and said, "Right there, I want to see come up," and like pointed to a specific spot. And it just becomes that much more detailed at the pro level that is separating like those top 6, top 10 girls at every show. Because typically you're not going to be told, unless you're a newer pro, grow everywhere. There's
Yeah.
little bits of detail that you're being told that are more specific and need to be worked on. Same with like top level national girls going for their pro card. It's sometimes splitting hairs between that first and second place pro card. And those little
Mm-hmm.
details are what make a lot of difference.
Yeah, and with those with those details come experience after experience after experience. Like it's you're not going to probably get that from a first show point standpoint, but after multiple times on stage of what you actually need to work on, being next to multiple different people. Because again, you
Mm-hmm.
could do your first show and they say grow everywhere. Next show, we don't want you to grow at all. Like
Yeah, yeah.
like we've said, it's all different. So
Yep. Yep.
I love that. Well, that was really good to see her in that top two. I love seeing her in that top two.
Yeah.
Okay. Hungry show. So this is the last and final
Love
show,
this one.
top
I
four.
mean, Victoria is a rising star and will be a first call at the Olympia in my opinion, in a couple years. Like she
Yeah.
just has that wow factor looking at her front post. She got 15th. For those who don't know who Victoria is, I believe she's from Hungary.
Yeah.
And she won her pro card this year, won her first pro show, and then placed at the Olympia in the top 15,
Hmm.
all in the same year. And then just obviously just came out and won this show. So she is a rising star. That front pose is really damn good. I'm sure that her
Hmm.
I feel like her feedback, and I don't know her feedback, but what I'm seeing in this front pose is the same thing that I think Jazzy was told. Too much lat flare, where
Yeah.
she's like almost having to force it out to make it sit around how good her side glute profile is. So
Yeah.
once that overall density and balance comes up there, she's gonna be really, really good.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with that because I know Jazzy mentioned that before about her flair and stuff like that. And it's not a huge change that needs to be made because you can see here there's room in between the hands, like here,
Yeah.
how it's
Yeah.
being placed. So you can just relax it a little bit more. So she doesn't really need to flare it much more at the moment, like you said before. So I would say honestly, she just can relax it. Also, this
Yeah.
is very, very random and like a thing for me. Just try and make sure that she doesn't put
Yes.
her bikini strap like over her oblique, so under the oblique, because it's going to really showcase up that taper more. It could be a fitting thing because I've seen this before with girls and I've said this before and they sometimes like my bikini bottoms I've gotten like too small now and they're just falling down so that I have to put them up and I'm like, oh, okay,
Mm.
cool, that's fine. But at least also like the lower that kind of is, obviously you don't want it super low, but like it also makes your torso look nice and elongated as well. So you want
Yeah.
to have that nice long structure in a front pose and stuff like that as well. So she just put that underneath, that would look great and relaxing across here. Um, and yeah, this is a really cool, this is a good top six to be fair. And
Yeah, it is a good top
then
six. A lot of good shapely front poses, back poses. Everyone had some crazy density. This was a
everyone's back
harder,
poses is
more
different as
dense.
well.
Yeah, very
Everyone's
different.
different. Everyone's got very different shaped glutes, which was really cool to see like everyone's
Yeah.
differences. Um, I think the thing with Victoria is potentially like I don't know if she could hit maybe hinge more and let like I want to see less rid out maybe from the back.
Yeah. Victoria, if you're listening, I know a posing coach.
So
It's right there.
this me, I'm like me analyzing like straight away.
Yeah.
Yeah, in my
Balance
opinion,
wise in the back pose, I think her side and rear delts look a little overpowering in comparison. And I
yeah.
don't know if that's just a little bit, like you said, maybe arch or pulling back a little hard with the elbows and it's popping the
Mm,
delts. I'm not sure what's going on. There's obviously something where she'd need to mess with it in her back pose and hit it a bunch of different ways and see what works best. But glutes look absolutely killer.
yeah, I agree. And I think this will be exciting because this week we've got Prague, and I think she's doing Prague along with Jazzy. So I would love to see her and Jazzy
Yeah.
next to each other because I do think they have very similar physiques in terms of like shape and silhouette and stuff like that. So it'd be really, really cool to see them next to each other.
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. That's going to be very good. And it's one of those where, you almost wish that they could have like stood next to each other at the Olympia just for the comparison itself. Like I get it, Jazzy's all the way up here in the top three, and Victoria was in the second call out, but it's cool. It would have been cool to see like comparative physiques against each other like that. So we're gonna get that at Prague. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I mean, it happens at a lot of pro shows and like Olympias in general. Like this happened at my first Olympia. Like when I didn't technically get second call outs, but if because I placed seventh, I would have gotten second call outs, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
I jumped up like 2, 3 spots after they did the
Mm.
second call outs because they kind of did like a little re-look
I
over
remember
and stuff
that
like that.
they
It
sent
happens a
off a
lot.
couple and then left you and pulled out more, and it was comparisons against like a certain group of people. Yeah.
Yeah, so and it happens a lot, like a lot of the time. So I think when people are like, "Oh, I got second call outs," or "Oh, I got third call outs," it's like, no, like you still have to keep pushing and keep going. Like, don't like either like give up or like think like actually randomly there was this one time actually when I competed with Maureen in 2018, we did a Spain show in Alicante, and it was Tim Gardner that was judging, head judging. And he decided to mix things up and do all the call outs backwards. So I was like, I've got last call outs. And all of us girls came off and we were like, well, like I thought I had a really good season this year and we've got
Yeah.
last call outs.
You're looking
And
around and
then
you're like, you're not a last call out girl. Like, what's,
I
what's
was like,
going
I
on
thought
here?
this was like one of my best physiques. And like this whole year, like I've been placing like first call outs and stuff. And I was like, well, maybe next time. And then someone runs backstage and is like, by the way, that he did that the other way around, like you're in first call outs. And I was like, wait, what do you mean? Like, so like truth be told, never give up on what call out you're on because honestly, you don't know what sometimes you expect what to happen because we
Yeah.
usually the first people in first call outs are usually the first call outs, but you never know when they might switch it up, like
Yep.
honestly.
Yep.
So you just
And
have to keep
even
working.
in first call out too, Becky's been a big proponent of this previously on social media, when she like speaks about judging and stuff. Her and Patrick Fulgham, one of the muscle contest head judges, are pretty huge on not caring if dead center is first place.
Yeah.
They have in their
Jack
mind,
does that as well.
yeah, they have in their mind, along with the panel around them discussing who they have in first. And sometimes if it's a very obvious first, I've seen them send them to the outside. So you have your
Mhm.
first call out, let's say it's top 5, and they're like, okay, that's our clear winner, move them out so we don't need to move so many other people around just to get them next to each other. We know that first
Mhm.
place we're putting all the way over here on the outside. That's our winner after seeing them in the center comparatively. And then the other 4 or 5 girls they have, now they don't need to constantly move them around the winner because they know that their winner's out of the way. So now they're comparing like second through fifth together. And I've seen that at
Mhm.
multiple shows. And I kind of like that too, because it's I don't want to call it confusing, but like you just said, like keep your head in the game, because just because you're not in the center or in that certain call out you're thinking doesn't mean that you're not actually in first call out or that you aren't actually winning. It all depends on the judge and how they want to do it that day. And it's fun for the audience too, because you're like, oh shit, like I would have had her winning. Why are they on the outside? And then they all of a sudden a top 2 or top 3 call out is done, and you're like, oh wait, they are in the top. So
Yeah, it's nice. It keeps it interesting and it keeps it engaging for the audience to then watch, like you mentioned. So I think that's really cool. So that is all 4 shows from this weekend. This is can you see my screen? The same
I
screen?
can,
Okay. So
yes,
this is the whole lineup for this weekend. We've
yep.
got we do have one show in the US. It's Masters
The
though,
Masters
but
Pro, yeah.
yeah, but you've got one show in the US, and then we've got Canada, a pro natural, then you've got Russia, then you've which is open, then you've got Prague, which is the kind of the main one a lot of people are looking at and all that type of thing. And then you've got a Madrid show, which is also natural. So you've got two pro naturals, 2 open, and 1 master, which is quite cool.
Yep. I
So
don't think it's not that common to see a Masters 35 show. It's usually 40 plus, 40, 45, 50, 55.
yeah, that's
35
true.
plus isn't that common, because 40 plus qualifies you for the Masters
I
Olympia.
was just about to say
35
that
plus
was a
doesn't do
question.
anything except give you a win or a pro show. But 40 plus is Masters O qualification. You don't
Is
see
it
many
not 35
35
and
plus and stuff.
40? I thought it was 35 and 40.
40 plus only for the Masters Olympia.
Oh, Oh, that's what I was
Yeah.
actually just about to ask. I was like, what's the cutoff point for the Masters Olympia? Is it like the whole of the Masters, or is it literally just a specific
Yeah,
age?
I don't believe that the 50 and 60 does much other than obviously like allowing the people that got those Masters Pro cards to compete in pro shows. But Masters 40 is the pro qualifier or the Olympia qualifier for the Masters Olympia.
Oh, okay,
So
I didn't
seeing a
know that.
Masters 35 on there is interesting because like Ashley I'm not positive exactly how old she is, but girls like Ashley and some of these girls in their mid 30s could all go and do that show.
I
Like it's
think so,
a
yeah.
regular open show if they wanted to. Like 35 is
Yeah.
not old at all. So
No, no, that's actually true. That is very true, actually. Okay. So this is the first show. So the Prague Pro, which a lot of bodybuilders are going to as well. There's a lot of in
yeah,
physique. There's
it's a lot. It's a
obviously
big show.
I think this show over the years, I did this show back in 2018. Um, and it was big then and it's still big now. And it's cool to see how it just keeps developing over and over and over. So I really like that it's just getting bigger and bigger. And like you said, there's more people from like the US going and all that type of thing. Like
Yeah.
it's cool to see European shows get their recognition because the production line that goes into these shows is incredible. Like it's so
Yeah.
incredible. Another one I want to give big props to is a lot of the Spain shows. The Spain shows
Mhm.
are great. And I need to go back to Alicante because Alicante is like so great. They're amazing, honestly. So the three girls that stand out for me in this is Alison Testu,
Yep.
you got Jazzy,
Jazzy.
and then Victoria. I think
Yes,
them
agreed.
three would be really cool to see next to each other
Yeah.
because they're a little bit more, muscular, a little bit leaner. They all complement each other very well. So it'll be interesting to see them kind of back to back to back over a period of time for sure.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Is I can't remember. Is Prague one of the automatic qualifiers? One of the big shows that
No, but
it's a one
Romania
go?
is.
Yeah, Romania
Romania
is. Yeah.
is.
Okay.
So Romania, I
Okay.
think, is in 3 weeks' time, or just 2 week, 2.5 weeks,
Okay.
3 weeks' time. So you've got a lot of there's a few other I want to say she is, yeah, Olympian. She just did the Olympia recently as well. I like her physique a lot. She won um Prague last year.
Okay.
Either last year or the year before, and she got her pro card. This
What's her
is where she
name?
got her pro card. Um, I'm gonna say
Sarah.
Sarah.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure she won her pro card at the Prague Pro either last year or the year before that, but she hasn't been pro for long. So she's a
Okay.
really like she's a great competitor in Europe. I know she places quite highly in top
That's a
five
good
quite
front pose right
often.
there. That's really
Yeah.
good.
She's got very like round again. I think she would be kind of in that kind of top four range with Jazzy, Allison, and Victoria. She's got that. And again, I don't know where she came the um in the Olympia, like where what placing she got, or where she was called out, sorry. But it'd be again then cool to see her next to Jazzy and
Oh
Victoria,
yeah.
who were in that top 15, you know?
Especially looking
So
at this front pose right here from Daytona. Just her physique in general. It looks very balanced and it looks like
mhm.
spot on condition as well. So I haven't seen a back pose on since we've been scrolling, but this front pose is really, really good.
Let me see. I think this is a video I want to say, so maybe we'll see it backwards. Yeah. So I think, yeah, I think she's got um a good shape. And I think we said before, it's interesting to see girls that were maybe slightly lower at the Olympia then stand next to Jazzy and say, okay, what do they need to work on? Like, what is it that they need to bring up?
Mhm.
Potentially next to these girls, or potentially even they might even be better than the Olympia. Like this
Yeah.
is an opportunity to show the judges that they've come in better and they've changed, they've gotten feedback and improved. So she got good back pose as well.
Yeah, this is good. Really good. Yeah, it'll be good to see because you have momentum carrying some of these girls too. Not that necessarily plays like a role in judging, but when you think about like the human nature of things, and you think about how Victoria just won Hungary last week, and now she's just hopping over to the next European show. and she's in your mind of, okay, we know this girl just won last week, let's see if she looks better or if she looks the same, and let's see how she looks comparatively next to the rest of our first call out. And then you have Jazzy obviously carrying the momentum of already being qualified for next year, just got third place at the Olympia. So that's a good show. I like that top 3 top 4 a lot.
That's going to be really, really cool to see. And then we've got Moscow, we've got Russia. So
Alessia is definitely a good front runner here.
yeah,
She's a great physique.
and then you've got Jess Feedy.
Yeah.
And then, not many people are tagged, so I'm not too sure about who else there is. But those are the 2 names that kind of come to mind at the moment. It's a smaller show, though, I think, obviously, just because of Prague, because people want to compete at Prague, potentially. But I do think, obviously, this is a nice lineup for people to kind of, obviously, see and stuff like that. So that would be cool to see where everyone lands in that spot.
Definitely.
And then those are the 2 opens. And then you've obviously got Masters, and then you've got the naturals in Spain. Now, I like seeing that there's more natural shows. I do think that they are still quite small though. Obviously, I think it's only they're gonna get bigger with time and stuff like that. But it'll be interesting to kind of see over the next like year or so if there are more people that kind of enter into the natural pro shows and stuff like that. Because is there from natural pro shows, is there big show Ben Weider, is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. Ben Weider, and I can't remember what Tyler did with Pittsburgh. I know that Pittsburgh has a pro qualifier natural, so you can turn pro natural at Pittsburgh.
Okay, yeah.
I can't remember if there's a pro show that's natural there as well, but there's definitely becoming more and more routes to becoming pro natural. But as far as like their pinnacle show is definitely winning Ben Weider. And if I'm not mistaken, if anyone in the IFBB or judges or anyone are in the comment section, let me know if I'm wrong here, but I'm pretty sure that Ben Weider stayed a 1 show win for the Olympia. I know they didn't like mention it on the thing, like on the qualification rules, but I think it stayed, because if it didn't, it takes away a little bit of an opportunity for like that one natural girl to make the Olympia. Because if they win Ben Weider, awesome, here's your points. But are you going to go win an open pro show now? I don't know. So I think that, in my opinion, it should be. But all these natural pro bikini shows, do they do anything for the Olympia? Are they getting points? Are they getting 2 wins in qualifying?
Interesting.
Because like here in Idaho where I live, we had a natural pro bikini show last week that had 2 girls in it. And then we just saw the one right here that had 3 in it. So it's like,
I don't think it is.
I don't think it is either, especially with those numbers, because then you're talking about getting 10 to 15 more 2 pro show winners in there. And then the numbers at the Olympia aren't going to be reduced at all and made it all pointless.
No, I don't think it is. I'm just on the thing now just to kind of see. Oh, they've already got the points. That's cool. I didn't know. I didn't realize that they've already got the points updated on the Olympia page. That's very cool. God, there's already so many girls on here. There's already 56 people on the point system. That's That's really cool, to be fair, for bikini, but that is crazy.
Yeah.
56 entries already on the point system. So that means people have competed, 56 people, or well, more than 56 people, but
there's been 56 in the 1st to 5th range.
Yes, that's crazy.
Since the cutoff, so that's really cool to see.
Yeah, it's a lot of people. It's only going to get better. And the funny thing is, I think a lot of people did think that it was going to get quieter, or not as many people. All division winners at the 2025 Ben Weider Natural Pro. For 2025, Ben Natural Pro is except men's bodybuilding 212 and women's bodybuilding to qualify. So it is.
Okay, so it is an automatic qualifier. Okay, good.
Yeah,
good. That's how it should be, because that is because I'm 99% sure what happened. Actually, I want to say I'm 100% sure. Ben Weider, you have to qualify for. So Ben Weider is like a natural Olympia, because you have to win a natural pro show to qualify for the Ben Weider. And then the best of the Ben Weider is the one natural girl that gets to go to the Olympia.
Okay.
So yeah, that makes sense.
That's cool. Yeah. So, and then, which I didn't actually know until after this. So any former Olympia winner is lifetime eligible, where
Oh,
The
there's the
lot. So
5-year mark on there.
yeah, I didn't know that. So I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
lifetime, like your lifetime qualified. But
Yeah.
obviously, if you haven't then competed in 5 years to win a show, like it obviously it does expire, which I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
so I believe ISA was 2019, right? So ISA would have to either win a pro show or apply to just automatically be in the Olympia again because she's out of that window.
Oh my God, yes, she is, because
Yeah.
2019.
Yeah. So expect to see her in a pro show at some point this year, unless she's
That
gonna
would be
apply to
cool.
to bypass it all. But I think it'd be cool to see her compete in a regular pro show.
Yeah. Well, she did it last time as well. Like she did Texas
Yeah,
and she
yeah,
competed like, and that's good. Like I like to
yeah.
see, I
I
like
always
seeing
love
that.
people standing around her because it's like she has one of those just almost unattainable front poses. Like it's in such a good way, in a positive way. Like it's just crazy to see. And then getting to stand next to her, it kind of shows a lot of like strengths and weaknesses of other competitors. Like how is my
Hmm.
waist compared to her? How is my overall hourglass in comparison? Like this is a really good. This is Miss Olympia here. So
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. Okay, so let's get into the little Q&A. So we asked a little Q&A on our all of our stories. And also if you're not following already, follow our little podcast page because that's where we kind of asked a few questions there as well. And that's where we'll be, updating you guys on obviously things in episodes moving forwards and all that type of thing. First question is, what do we think of the 2026 point system? I mean, we kind of pretty much went over it a second ago. But I like it personally because
I like it a lot.
as a competitor, I think there's two mindsets that went into my head. The first one being, fuck, I've got to compete a lot next year, but I was already banking on doing that anyway. So it was fine. And I was excited to do that because I want to
I'll
compete.
let Phoebe be the humble one right now, but she's gonna win 2 shows, so it's not gonna matter.
I was like, I've got to compete a fuck ton. This is going to be interesting. But and I'm sure a lot of competitors also thought this as well. Like, okay, this is going to be hard. But I was also then second after that, the thought was like, this is going to be so fun because
Yeah.
I am excited. One, I'm excited to get back on stage. I've been off stage for way too long, so get me on stage. But second, like, I'm excited to be standing next to multiple different physiques, multiple different standards, different levels. Like I want to be up there and I want to be
Yeah.
bringing my best, keep consistently improving. Like this is what we were speaking about before. Like
Yeah.
if you don't get that feeling when you're up there on stage, like you're not gonna succeed. You have
Yeah.
to want to improve for yourself. And I understand that it makes it harder for because there is more people, I think what happened was people downplayed the Olympia a lot. I think over the last couple of years, people are like, oh, I only need to win a pro show.
Yeah.
Winning a pro show is hard. Like winning a pro show
Yes.
is
Yes.
so hard. Like my first pro win, I've been competing as a pro for like the first 4 years. I know 3 years before I got a pro win. And this was way back when it was only points in 2019, and that still didn't even qualify me for the Olympia. And I won a pro show. So like it's so, and I think that was like show number 5 or 6 of
Mhm.
the year. So like it's so hard to win a pro show. And I
Oh
think
yeah,
people did downplay it. Like, oh, I
they
only
do.
need to do this. So then
Yep.
oh, you need to do that twice. They're like, why are they making it so hard? Girl, it was already hard before. Like it was
It
hard
was hard.
before
Now
to
it's
win a
hard.
pro show.
It's harder in the sense of having to win 2 shows for sure.
Yes,
For
because
sure.
and I like what you mentioned before, where you said it is easier for people if you are consistent and you are
Yes.
you keep showing up and you are willing to do that. But I think then it makes it harder if you're not willing to want to compete all year. Well, not
Yes,
all year, but
definitely.
like multiple times, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. And I
Yep. We
say
see a
this,
lot of people that want to do one show and call it.
yeah,
And if they want to, by all means, you qualify for the Olympia, you earn that right. But now you have to do another one unless you're doing like New York or Pittsburgh. So
yeah.
it's like you have to do a second show. And then there's no telling who shows up to that. Like, let's say that well, Ashland's already qualified, but Ashland usually does a couple shows and does really, really well in them. She did Miami this year and destroyed that show. She did great. But if she were to have to compete and then Amy still needs another win, you might have the two of them head to head in a show. And then one
Mhm.
of them's getting the win. One of them now has to go to a third show. So it's like you're making good people compete more often, which I love. That's what I love about the point system the most is
Mhm.
outside of the automatically qualified top three, you have a lot of girls that you kind of expect to win a show when they go into it. Like take Amy, for example, or if you see Maria on a lineup, you're like, okay, Maria's a top contender at this show. And just because they win one show doesn't mean they're automatically winning the second, because now they might be going against someone else that also has to win their second show, causing that person to now have to do a third show. So it's
Mhm.
more, we're seeing the really good competitors more often.
Yeah, and and that's what, again, like we've mentioned before, that's the feeling you should have when you go up on stage. Like, oh no, like you shouldn't feel like, oh my God, XYZ is doing this show. Like, I don't want to do it now. You should want to do it and be like, not want to beat them, but want to be like, I want to show my best off, like next to
Yeah.
them, you know?
Yeah.
And this can even emulate going into like amateurs and stuff like that as well. Like, you don't have to kind of like, I mean, you don't have to think like, okay, I need to do one show and then that be it. You know, like keep doing multiple shows, especially if you're wanting to get your pro card. Like it's not just a
Yeah.
case of do one show, okay, I didn't get my pro card this time. Let's just wait till next year or like
Yeah.
whatever. Unless your feedback is obviously definitive and there's specifics that can only be changed within an off season. Even still, I'm sometimes like, just do another show because you never know like what that feedback will be, what the lineup will also be then next to, and you can just get more data for then going into an off season. I feel like sometimes it is a little bit pointless doing one show, but that's my opinion.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah.
I
So
think on
that's what I
the
think of the
so
point system.
one side of the point system, I don't think many people are thinking about yet. I'm sure some coaches are when it comes to like strategy. Is especially on the fan side of it. I know that John Pro Bikini News is going to have a field day when it comes down to like getting close to the cutoff. He's going to love that because
Hmm.
then it gets into like college football rankings in a sense, like who's making the playoffs. So you look at how you have the top 25, and let's say the bottom of that top 25 is like right on the cusp of dropping off, and a handful of them are still competing, and then there's some girls that are right below that top 25 that if they get a second place, they push this girl out. So now this girl has to
Hmm.
keep competing to stay above that marker. And then you have to take into account who's won a show, who might come into this and get their second pro win, which now they get off the list and it opens up a spot and bumps this person up. And so there is so much strategy once you get to like, and I'm sorry if I'm ruining this, but I think the Olympia is being backed up to September next year.
Hmm.
And so July and August, thinking of that being the rough cutoff time frame for that. Once we get to that time frame, it's going to come down to exactly that: is who still needs a second pro win, and they're going to go and get that, or maybe they don't, and now they're super high up on the leaderboard because they have one win plus a couple seconds or so. So now they're untouchable up here. They don't need to do a second pro win now because they're 20 points ahead of everybody. And there's just so much strategy when it comes down to that. And then knowing how many shows are in July and August usually is going to be who's going where. And on a coach's mindset and an athlete mindset, if you really want to make the Olympia and you know you're in that like middle to lower end of the point system, now you're considering who do I not want to go against because I know that like realistically I don't think I can beat them, but I need to get in the top
Hmm.
5 to get more points. And so
Yeah.
you're picking shows like, okay, here's a 3-show weekend. I'm going to go to Rising Phoenix instead of San Antonio Pro. Like you're picking just based on like, I think this person might do this show, or maybe some girls are friends with each other and they're like, hey, what show are you doing? And then you
Yeah.
choose to stay away from, and then you choose to stay away from them. So there's so much that's going to play a role in that. It's going to be so fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, that was literally me in 2018, 2019. 2018, I was obviously fresh pro, and I kind of was like, let's just keep going and see if I can get a win. I got 20, 'cause at the time it was top 20. It wasn't top 25. So it was top
Mm-hmm.
20. So I got first year, I got 24th. And I was like, okay, yeah, like really happy with that. Like, regardless, like if I'd gotten a win instead of getting a second at my last show, I would have gotten like 19th. So I was like, oh, that very close to the Olympiad. Definitely want to go again next year. 2019 was way more of like a strategy kind of game we were playing, where it was exactly that, how you were imagining it. So I got my first, got into the top 20 for like a day, for literally like a week, and then the next show I did, I think it was Vancouver. I needed fifth to get obviously point, or at least fifth, obviously to get points. I got sixth. So then that weekend, obviously, there's loads of people also competing. So I got shoved down to like 22nd, and I was like, okay, this is not good. So then Oh no, it was 21st. So I got shoved down to 21st. So I was
Yeah,
out of the
right there.
right there. So I was like, okay, I'll do Tampa Pro and make sure that like if I get Tampa Pro and even if I get fifth, that pushes me up because at the time
Yeah.
that was a top two show, a tier two show or something like that. So it was more points. But I got seventh, I think, and then obviously got pushed down again. So it really does become literally that right there, and you have to be strategic with it, which is difficult, but you're good. You're going to see, like you said, girls have to do that at some point when it comes closer to the time, of course.
Yep.
Next question was, how do you know if you are bikini or wellness? I mean,
I think
it's kind of obvious in my opinion. Like obviously there's the balance aspect of bikini and then there's the imbalance of wellness, right? So you've got a lot more quad, a lot more just low. If I'm honest, it's not just quads because I do think a lot of people are like, oh, you just have to have big quads. It's like everything with like, I look at wellness as your balance, you're still balanced, but you're balanced this way versus this way. So bikini, you're balanced from top to bottom. Wellness, you're balanced from left to right, if that makes sense. So you're
100%.
looking at your lower body, then upper body versus your whole physique, in my opinion, for balance, for wellness. And that's how I kind of obviously define it. So if you think of, again, if your lower body is obviously, more, developed than your upper body, then that's kind of sign one. Then I personally feel like as well, if you want to then emulate what wellness also gives off, like wellness is completely different in terms of lifestyle to obviously also keep up as well. Like in terms of how big you are in the lower body, do you want to obviously do that 24/7, which it's hard to do. Like it's hard to grow as well. And it's hard to maintain. So is that something that you want to obviously do kind of lifestyle wise? Yes. Okay. That's fine. You can work towards that as well.
Yeah.
Like I always try and say to a lot of girls, because I know obviously this is fit model and bikini, and this is obviously wellness and bikini we're speaking about. But hey. But I always try and say to girls, if you want to do fit model, do fit model. But if you do not want to do fit model and you want to still do bikini and grow into bikini, do bikini. And I think the same goes for a little bit more wellness and bikini as well. Look, if that's a criteria you want to do, you can strive to do that. Obviously, genetics wise, there's going to be something to come to play in there as well. But always do a category that you actually want to do versus also what you feel like you have to do.
100%.
For sure.
Yeah. And I think also like just in the most basic terms I can put it is at the novice level, like if you're trying to decide if you're bikini or wellness, just get with a coach and go through a cutting phase first and see what you have underneath where you're currently sitting at. Because a lot of people like will naturally carry more weight in their lower body, or they'll be a little bit thick in their off season, and it just puts in their head that I'm wellness. Look how much weight I carry in my legs and glutes. And it's like, yeah, but what are you going to look like after doing 10 to 12 weeks of cutting? Like then you're going to see if you're bikini or wellness. Where do you actually hold your muscle and your weight at? So that's the biggest thing at the amateur level is you will know if you're bikini or wellness after you go through a diet for a little while and you see how your actual shape and genetics are. And obviously, like, yes, you can grow from bikini to wellness over time. But if you're talking the immediate, what do I pick? Go through a cut and see how you look.
Exactly. I think that's good as well. Because again, like you said, you could cut down and you'd be like, oh shit, maybe I am bikini, or maybe I am. Well, like you don't know what you are until you've gone through those two phases, like a cutting phase and also a bulking phase or a growing phase. So I think that's good. Tell us about working with you both as a trainer and posing coach. So, I mean, how did you get into training? Is what I would want to know from that, to be fair. And then how did I get into posing coaching?
So little backstory. So go back like 13 years now. Damn. I did my first bodybuilding show. I competed in the WFF because at the time
I actually wanted to know. I wanted to know if you, because I didn't know
if you scroll way down my page. I'm gonna
find that. I'm gonna
500 to 600 posts down. I have two different stage shots up.
and I
I
want to
have a
see.
side tricep pose on stage, and I have a back double on stage that I have posted from two different shows, in the OG classic trunks, because the first year that
Nice.
like any federation came out with it. And I competed in the WFF because at the time, I was in the military for my first show, and Muscle
Hmm.
Contest International wasn't that big yet. And so
Hmm.
the people overseas, WFF was one of the number one federations to do. And then they also have some stateside shows where I did two WFF shows in Huntington Beach. It was the Huntington Beach Lauren Powers Classic, is what it was called. So those were the shows I did. And then even funnier, if you scroll, not even funny, but if you scroll down up my page a little bit from there, in 2020, I made a post where in the caption I said that I was going to come back and do one more show, and I wanted to go over to the NPC and like give that a run. And then the next day is when I shattered my kneecap. Motorcycle riding, for those that don't know, and that is what force retired me out of the fire department, and why I never got on stage again, and why and how I'm a trainer now is because my entire backing and background was I was in the military. I was a trainer in the military for multiple fields. Then I was a firefighter after I got out of the military. And I currently, for those who follow me and see my stories, I currently am the director for the city's fire academy. And so training is literally like 24/7 for me in every avenue, whether it be training people in the military in the past, currently training firefighter recruits in the academy to become firefighters, and then obviously doing training in bodybuilding, primarily bikini and
Hmm.
wellness. So I feel a lot of training, and I think you'll agree with this with posing. A lot of it comes down to how well can you communicate as a trainer or as a
Yeah.
posing coach,
Hmm.
because you can do something yourself perfectly. I can go in the gym and execute perfect form on camera, but can
Hmm.
I give someone else feedback or write out a training program with the bullet points that I want for how they're going to hit this from setup to angle to tempo to properly utilizing intensifiers versus when we know to go up in weight versus when we know to, okay, this load is too heavy. Let's add something different in for your progressive overload right here. And so
Hmm.
being able to formulate all of that and convey that to someone is, I think, a skill set in itself rather than just like, yeah, I'm the big guy at the gym. Like I can train,
Yeah.
and like there's a big difference there. Like you can be a great competitor, a great athlete, but that doesn't mean that you can coach. It doesn't mean that you can pose and like
Hmm.
teach that. So that's how I got into the training side of things, is because that is literally my entire background in many different fields, from military to firefighting to paramedic to bodybuilding. So that's what got me into training.
Nice.
And then what training with me looks like is 99.9% of my business is custom training programs. There's some coaches that even have me on their intake forms now, where they're like, if you want to train with Corey, like he's not on my team, but if you want to train with him, he's giving my team a discount because I train so many people from this team or that team. And so there's a
Hmm.
team price that I give this coach to offer all of their athletes. And then more often than not, I'll have a group chat with the coach, or take someone like Team Atlas, for instance. James likes to um, assess the frequency of how he wants people to train. Like, I want
Hmm.
glutes hit this many times. I don't want their quads to grow. So he will give me all of that feedback when I get someone. Then I'll develop a training program based on that. And then obviously my own like vision of like seeing their stage photos and their judging feedback and stuff like that. And then outside of that, I do in-person training when people want to fly in for me, or show weekends. I'll usually fly in like a day or two early, and I'll blast out, whether it be via social media or a WhatsApp, to everyone that I train via training programming. And I'll let them know like, hey guys, I'm in Dallas for the next 4 days. I have 2 days open to train. This gym said that I can train out of there. So if you want to get sessions in with me, I'm here for 2 days. And then outside of that, it's just people that fly in to train with me. And then, like I said, 99% of what I do is training programs.
That's cool. I mean, that's a really
Yeah.
like cool story as well, like how you got into it. I feel like everyone always has their like origin story of like something not went wrong, but something happened veering them away from the original plan, and it actually kind of veers you off into the really what you're actually meant to do, you know?
Yeah.
And
Oh,
I've
yeah.
heard so many things. Obviously, I've trained with you before, and hilariously, I should have sent it to you the other day. I the story from Arnold's came up yesterday. I don't know why it came up, or it came up on my whatevers. And
Yeah.
from this Arnold's, when we took a selfie
Hmm.
together, we were like, we're planning to take over the world. And I was like, that's hilarious because I don't think we knew in any way that
We
we
didn't
were going
know
to be.
anything was going to come up like
We
this.
didn't even know we were going to be doing a podcast together, but we're now planning to take over the world.
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah,
so funny.
so that was funny. But no, I think that's really cool. Like I think what you're bringing to the world of bodybuilding, especially for bikini as well, is needed. Well, bikini wellness, like for a lot of people, because training, I think people know now, I think more than anything, that training is very like important. But I think it's one of the easier things as you get into the dieting to slack on. Like I know I've
Yes.
definitely been there where I've been like, I'm not pushing my 100%, and I know I'm not, but like it's easy to just drop it when you're dieting, when you're low on calories, when you're tired, when you don't
Yeah.
want to do
Yeah.
it. And to have someone like you to obviously push you in that direction to be like, get your ass in gear and like get it done. And structuring everything around what you need to do specifically for that person is perfect. So you don't get
Yeah.
that cookie cutter kind of program from coaches potentially. So that's good. Exciting. Well, I started as an online coach, as you do, kind of, I was, in bodybuilding, kind of in my, I think it's first or second year of competing back in 2017. And I was like, oh, I like this. Like, I know 2016, I think I kind of started to, do dieting. I didn't do any competitors or anything like that. I was like, let me just do lifestyle people because a few people have been like, you look great. Can you help me diet? And I'm like, sure, why not? Then as I kind of started to compete more, show off my posing and all that type of thing, people are like, you really like, I like how you pose, I like how you flow, can you teach me? And I'm like, I sucked at posing when I first started, but to give you a little insight, we used to have to do lat spreads. Us Europeans and UK girlies will know this, but we used to have to do lat spreads for our back pose. And
Mm.
actually move our head to the side and show off our full back as a bikini athlete. And this was part of the NPC at a given time. And Max actually had to teach me how to lat spread. So I didn't know how to lat spread. I didn't know how to flare my lats. I didn't know how to pose. Like he helped me like get my confidence a lot at the beginning of my journey. So I if you want any posing done by him, you can message him because he's great. But he helped me at the beginning, and then I slowly got a bit more confident with my posing. And obviously, you know how it goes. A few more people were like, "Hey, would you be able to pose me?" And then it kind of just picked up from there. And I think for me, the difference with posing to online coaching is why it was I felt more connected to my posing clients than I did my online clients. In a way where I feel like I could just talk to them differently and communicate with them in a different sense. So I think that's when I kind of made the switch. I think I was only an online coach for maybe like 3 years, maybe.
Mm.
And I didn't have loads of people, but I mainly was taking on posing coaching online and stuff like that. And then COVID, when COVID hit, that was where I then really took things online because I was mainly in person. Like I was having like 20 hours a weekend, like really, really big shifts of
Yeah.
in-person posing.
That's a
And
lot of in person.
a lot, like I would travel to like Manchester, Birmingham, like these are all little like towns in the UK and stuff, like all major cities in the UK and stuff like that. So I'd travel hours to kind of go to these places, and it was busy, it was hard as well. So then COVID hit, made everyone kind of stay inside. So then I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to switch your stuff to in person to online. And they were like, yeah, that's fine. I was like, okay, how easy can I do this online? And how, because I didn't offer online at the beginning because I didn't really know how to do it online. I was better in
Mm.
person. Now I say like online posing at that, in my opinion, is actually better than in person because you have to force the person to actually pose and think for themselves versus in person. Yeah, I can move your foot here, but I want you to actually mentally think, no, my foot needs to go here. You need to
Yes. Yeah.
listen to what I'm saying. So your arm goes here and you have to think about that. So naturally, then you're going to take in that information and put that into use better versus always having to have, oh, Phoebe, I need you to help me in person. So I do really credit online a lot more than in person now. Don't get me wrong, in person is obviously very good. But online, in my opinion, online posing is where it's at.
It's funny you mentioned that about like how you feel about online posing versus in person, because that is exactly how I feel about training. Is
Mm-hmm.
some people want that push in person. I get it. The intensity is different. Like you have someone there holding you accountable, but Uh, Along with my training programs I do, there's a monthly option I have where people keep me on as technically their virtual trainer, where they have a certain amount of top set videos that they can record and send me weekly. And then I respond via voice memo and I break down everything I might want to see differently. I'm like, okay,
Hmm.
last week we were doing 3 plates on the hip thrust and you just jumped to 4 plates. And I'm literally seeing your hips dragging behind your upper body stabilization. And we're using too much erector, or your quads are taking over in this. And I can literally see them shaking. Like, so being able to help people utilize proper progressive overload and explain the reasoning why, and something I might miss if I was in person, because now I can replay this video over and over again.
Over and
And that's what
over.
I do
Yeah.
as I'm watching it is I'll hold my finger on it and I go from rep one to the failure rep, like the very end of the set. And I'm like, where are we breaking down in here and how can we fix this? Like, what can we do if your feedback to me is that my erectors are taking over, my quads are taking over, I don't feel the glutes. Okay, well, let me see what happened between this entire set. And then I can break it all down on top of giving the basics of change your angle, change this foot position, do this differently. So I can break down everything via voice memo. And anyone who trains with me has probably gotten a 5-minute voice memo at some point. They're typically around like 60 to 90 seconds that I'll shoot over. This is what I want to see differently, do this differently. But there's everyone who's trained with me gets like that 4 to 5 minute one at one point where I break down all the reasoning of why I want to see something done. And I feel like one, they then have that to always look back on. Okay, what did Corey tell me I need to do differently going into this top set? Because this is the exercise last week that felt like shit for me. So let me go listen to what he said. And so they are able to continuously have that feedback, even if I'm not there in person. And then on top of that, I can give more detailed feedback because I'm watching the video over and over again. And they're not relying on me to be in person to, all right, don't let your delts roll forward here. Don't do this. Like, move this foot out here, turn these toes out. And it's when you're in person, it's only in that moment that like you're telling them to do it. They're not thinking about doing it. They're only
Hmm.
doing it because you told them to and you
Yeah.
moved their foot for them. When it's via like online, they are the ones, like you said with posing, they are the ones that now have to make the correction just based on what they're hearing. So
Yeah.
they have to go and physically do it themselves rather than like you posing, okay, put this foot out here, turn your torso this way. Like it's better muscle memory for them to do it themselves.
Muscle memory is a very big word there because that's exactly it. Like it's you have to use your brain so much more, and that's exactly what we do again on the Posing Portal app. Is like you have a check-in system, you have posing sessions, obviously a booking system, all these things, and all these great tools on there that you can obviously use to help consistently get your posing just better and better each time. And I do think that that is something that helps is consistency and accountability versus it just being okay, a one and done. And that's exactly why I kind of created the Posing Portal app because it's really easy to just book in one posing session and that be it. But like that is not going to fix your problem of getting your front pose better or changing the way that or having more flow in your posing or just feeling more confident in your posing in general. One posing session is not going to do it. One check-in's not going to do it. You need to consistently do that over and over again on a monthly basis. So you are just, again, more consistent in overall. So it's more muscle memory over time versus it just being, okay, I just need to remember one thing that Phoebe said this one time and then that's it. But like it's over a period of time. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think that's cool in both of our fields. We kind of have that same like outlook on how we train people in on how we obviously want them to kind of do and how we actually work as well. Like we're both very the exact same. Like we don't have just a specific team we work under, but we kind of work with a large amount of people, which is
Yeah.
kind of fun as well.
Yeah, yeah. I've had teams ask me if I would be exclusive to them, and I'm like,
Same.
yeah,
Nope.
not to throw numbers out there at all, but it's like, yeah, if you're gonna make up for the like 100 people I'm gonna lose because I can't now train them because they're not with your team, like you want me
Mm,
exclusive to you, are you gonna make up for everyone I have to drop because of that? No, you're not. Like,
mm.
I prefer to be that middleman for all the teams.
Same.
Like I train for probably 40 to 50 different coaches at this point that are like actively referring people to me, on top of like the individual athlete that might just reach out on their own.
Yeah. And I just like the connection. I get to speak to so many different types of people. Like I've posed
Yeah.
people from being completely newbie to not even knowing what they're doing on stage to literally Olympians. And you're the exact same where you've trained both. And it's just nice to have that vast level difference because you can really take, for example, what you've taught people at the pro level and trickle that down into then novice and then also vice
Mhm.
versa. Everyone can always learn something. So I think that's really important to mention.
What's your favorite? I'm gonna ask you a question. What's your favorite like standout win that you've gotten as opposing coach? Like I know that you're one of your co-opposing
Oh,
coaches on your team just won like figure or something, right? Or women's
oh my
physique
God,
in
yeah,
Olympia. So
Rhea.
so that's gotta be a great one. And then like who have
So
you
Rhea,
posed that's also been like crazy good?
just to point out, Rhea Gale just won Miss Olympia. Like she actually won. Like she's been going. This is her seventh Olympia. Also, me and Rhea go way back because we won our pro cards together. So big up Rhea. And like I've said this to her before. I want to get her on the podcast as well because obviously later on down the line we want to kind of discuss figure and stuff like that. And even in the comments, there was a few people saying that, don't forget about us figure girls. And I was like, no, we won't, of course not. So I definitely want to get her on for sure. But she was incredible, like she's been incredible. And I think for me personally, my first pro to trust me was Sunny Andrews randomly.
Uh, hmm,
I posed her a few times back in 2021. And that was really, really cool to kind of see her difference and confidence come out. Another one is Adair from
hmm.
Canada. I took her on obviously last year, and her confidence in the way that she flowed on stage,
Flew.
just flew. That's not the word I'm looking for, but we're gonna roll with it.
You flew so well up
She
there.
flew so well up there. She flew so well. She looks so much more confident. And I think for me, and I'm sure it's the same with you for like girls when they, see more muscle development and see just progress in general. When you see someone's confidence shine through, like, and they're like, I've never felt this confident before. Like it's just, and it not just being from a body aspect, but actually like just how they're moving. It just feels really good as a coach, like from my side. So yeah, I think those two were probably like my first like cool, really cool ones. And then obviously I've got to pose Vanya before. I've posed Amy. I post so many different people, and I posed Ashley
Yeah.
K before. So like there's so many different people I've posed, and for me as a posing coach, it's really honorable because I can then take that knowledge that they have on their struggles that they have like for posing and take
Yeah.
that for me and coaching and stuff like that. So yeah, it was really
I love
cool.
that. That's awesome.
It's really
Nice.
cool. Right, let's just do one more because we don't want to have the same 2 hour long episode as
Well,
before.
people are good now
Um,
because they're not going to say I'm speaking into a tin can.
no,
So
they're
I think
happy
this will
with
go
that.
for
They're
five
absolutely
hours.
fine. The last one, I actually did want to cover this because it was a quite specific one. So someone mentioned, they said Tyler mentioned in his recap that Amy didn't have her normal pop. I've had this feedback before at shows I've done. Does this mean I need to build more muscle? Does this mean I need to fill out? Does this mean taking time off, etc.? I'm not sure what to do. So I thought that was a really cool question because I do think that people have kind of been in this position before when they say pop. And I wanted to get your opinion on that for sure.
So breaking that down to like the littlest things. So I'll start with take Amy at the Olympia, for instance. Every single thing leading into that show matters. It's peak week. Did you miss an hour of sleep? Did you miss 4 ounces of water? Did anything occur that could have made your body not have that fullness and pop that you might normally have? I don't know. I can't speak for Amy or for Jamie, but there's so many things that can play into that being Tyler's feedback about her not having her normal pop. All the way down to answering this question of the listener that asked the question saying they've gotten that feedback before. So in comparison to Amy, this is where being able to decipher judging feedback comes into play. Because
Mhm.
no, Amy's not missing any muscle. There's no muscle Amy's missing. So she was more than likely a little bit flat, or it could have been the posing. Like there's just something in there that Tyler said she didn't have her normal pop. So whether it was how she transitioned, and that's when he was like, oh, glutes don't look as full there as they usually do, or it was the peak itself coming into the show. Maybe she was a little tired. Maybe she could have drank a little more water. Maybe they could have filled her up more with carbs. So there's so much that goes into that, where when it comes down to deciphering the judging feedback, if you're someone that's being told that at like an amateur level, like a true novice level type of thing, you probably need more muscle. It's usually not going to be that you needed to fill out more, and that's what you're missing. That's what was missing the pop. You probably need more muscle, but it's a person by person basis. We've seen some amateurs that look incredible, like Uliana for she won the Arnold Amateur this year. I was at her first show ever. I was at the LA Fit Expo where she won every single class, and then she won the overall of Open. A month later, went and turned pro at the Arnold, and then I think got third or fourth in her pro debut at Muscle Contest. Like, it was crazy.
So good.
And so you don't see too many amateurs like that where you really got to decipher feedback at that point. You're like, are you telling me this because I'm really new, or? And so deciphering judging feedback goes a long way, because like I said in the beginning of this episode, the judges don't know. Like, I love that Tyler gave that feedback of she didn't have the same pop, because the improper answer to that, or the improper feedback from a judge, would be that she needs to grow more muscle, or she needs to fill out more, because they don't know if you need to fill out more. They don't know if you are blasting full and you just don't have enough muscle for it to be full. Like, you could have carb loaded and everything is full, but your glutes are lacking. The judge doesn't know how you peaked. They don't know what you did to look the way you did. So they can't tell you if you need more muscle. They could tell you more glute, which again, decipher. Is it more glute muscle, or is it more glute fullness? And how do we go about doing that? So there's a big difference there in being able to decipher what that feedback is.
I like that a lot, because again, I think a lot of people probably have had that feedback at some point, and I do think that sometimes people get confused, and it is confusing sometimes, because you're like, okay, wait, what is it that they want? Is it more muscle? And then it goes back to what we were saying before, with you have to kind of figure that out with you and your coach. That's literally what you just mentioned and stuff like that as well. So I think that's really good, because sometimes people kind of take judges' feedback too literally and say, okay, that means I need to grow muscle. No, it doesn't always mean that. That doesn't always mean that. It's a case of you just need to figure out, obviously, what that feedback means to you. So yeah, I like that a lot. So
a big thing to remember too is that a lot of judging feedback is based on who you're standing next to in that show as well.
Yeah.
Like, like, I'll use Kerrigan for example. Southern Muscle, where she got 11th, and she got a lot of DMs about this. Southern Muscle, where she got 11th, she was told that her glutes need to be bigger. Sorry, not bigger. She was told her glutes are too big.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, she was told her glutes are too big, like downsize them. And her feedback all the way up to this year has been, you need more glute to like fill out your shape, that hourglass, that pronounced S curves, like you need more glute. And so when she got that feedback, she was like confused, but also kind of happy about it. She was like, oh, my glutes aren't a weak point anymore. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that side of things where it's who you're standing next to, because I can't disagree that, yeah, maybe her glutes looked a little too big and too hard who she was next to. But again, if you put her next to first and second place, are you going to tell her her glutes are too big? No, you're not. But who she was next to in comparisons and in the call outs themselves, maybe that's her feedback because of that. So you have to take certain things with a grain of salt and understand that then she goes to Mexico 2 weeks later, gets second place, and her glutes are not big enough next to cast. So her glutes definitely aren't too big. So there's that type of feedback where you really need to decipher based on, okay, why would they be giving me this feedback? Let me see who I'm standing next to. That's why, because the girl that got 7th, 8th, 9th next to me, like my glutes do look a little bit too big next to them. So there's a lot of things that go into play with that. Who you're standing next to in comparisons, what angle are you standing at in call outs and in comparisons, and judges, some judges, like Lisa Malloy. I don't know if you know who Lisa is. She's a head judge, pro judge in Vegas. And she has a notebook full of notes from the entire show on every single competitor. Like, I'm talking a paragraph for feedback for every single athlete that comes out. She writes down their number, and there's like 5-6 lines of what she sees every time she sees them, from comparisons to individual routine to call outs. And she is putting down everything she sees and why. And that's one of the best ways to go about feedback, because she then gives them the feedback and she goes, okay, in your individual, when you were by yourself, this is what I saw. Now, when you were standing next to someone, this is what I saw. And this is what I think you need to work on. And so she lets people know, like, this is why her feedback is what it is. So take it what you will. And I love that style of feedback because, like you said, some people will be told, come in a little bit softer, come in a little bit this, and then they just run with it and they go too far.
Yeah.
So there's that happens oftentimes. So yeah, it's taking things with a grain of salt and understanding, like, this is why the feedback was given. Here's how to decipher it. And there was when Kerrigan was told her glutes were too big, and then people saw she got 11th, and the amount of DMs she got that were like, wait, this physique is 11th place. What the hell am I even doing? Why am I still competing? Like, that's and then I'm happy she got second this week, because now it's like, okay, yes, this, it got rewarded, looks really good in that top two, so let's keep moving on. So
yeah, that's good. And I think that's what you need to kind of do moving forwards with feedback and stuff like that, and just know what to do. When you have a good coach, they know what to do with what the judges say and stuff like that.
yeah.
So yeah, great podcast. I'm excited.
Yeah.
This is really, I'm really enjoying kind of breaking all these shows down as being specific with, again, all these placements and kind of what everyone looks like. And again, I'm very excited to kind of see how this like next couple of shows go, to see where the girls go and all that type of thing.
Yeah. I
So
really like that we're able to, and for anyone listening, drop in the comments, whether it's on YouTube or Instagram, like, let us know in the future if there's someone that we should like highlight. Like, if you want us to bring someone on to interview, or if maybe there's someone we're missing on the list that you're like, hey, they keep getting third and fourth, like, they're really good, like, mention it to us and we'll throw up their Instagram and talk about them. And that's kind of the main purpose behind this, is that bikinis, I don't want to say underrepresented, but it is, like, in comparison to a lot of other divisions, it's underrepresented. Like, when every single division in the industry got a corporate sponsor a couple years ago, bikini was the only one that didn't get one. And so it's like, I want to do this. I know we want to do this because it's bringing in a lot of light to the bikini division itself. And it's allowing us to highlight girls as if we're like Sports Center, in a sense. Like, let's talk about this top 5, how they look. You guys don't even know who this was in 5th place. Let's pull up her Instagram. She looks awesome. And we're able to like give a little bit of spotlight on someone that people might not even know who they were. I don't know how many people knew about Victoria getting 5th place at the Olympia or 15th place at the Olympia, and her story leading up to that, of this all happened in 1 year. She's someone to keep watching. And so I love being able to highlight some of these people and just bring some positivity and light to bikini. So
yeah, exactly that.
I'm excited for Fit Model to come out next year. I'm excited to see the pro list.
That's gonna be really interesting to kind of see how that all goes, because for me, I'm still like, I still have a few Fit Model pros, and I'm like, I want to know what the rules are for Fit Model Pro. I want to know if there's any definitive timings, like for routines and different things and all that type of thing. So I'm excited to kind of hear all of that, and you're going to hear all about it when obviously the time is right. So thank you guys so much for listening, for watching another episode of Stage Talk. And like Corey said before, if there is anyone that you want us to look out for, even if it's amateurs, like they just recently won their pro card, I'd love to also like look into people that are coming into the pro division as well. Like, it'd be very interesting to kind of see how the category is growing. So let us know. But thank you guys so much for watching, and we will speak to you in the next one.